Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to, of course, the place to be on a Monday night, the Australia New Zealand Strength of Field race, also known as Monday Night Lights. This week, coming to you live and exclusive from the brand new circuit to iRacing Tsukuba in Japan. And joining me once again, I'm your host, of course, Alex McKellar, and joining me once again is the good doctor, Dr. AJ, Dr. Alex John. Welcome back, AJ. Big night of racing ahead.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? I haven't had a chance to race around this track, so it'll be my first look at a race tonight. I did catch a little bit of your stream though earlier in the week, and I know you've had a bit of success around here.
Yeah, look, I enjoyed my racing here this week. Quite a technical track, quite enjoyable at the same time for that fact. But, it's been a fun introduction to me. Had a couple of good races myself, and it was good fun. So looking forward to seeing what the guys do here, and there's a few new faces or some familiar ones as well. Looking on board at the moment with Sammy Toikala, and I hope I haven't butchered that, Sammy, who's normally not known for joining us in the big splits, but he's out here tonight trying to put on a good show. We've got Tim Hendrickson, who's joined us once again, usually car number one with an I rating well over the 6,000 mark, but tonight it's Javier Munoz Dominguez joining us from, of course, the Iberian Club, who is car number one with about 6,500, nearly 6,700 I rating, AJ. That looks like a man to beat.
Yeah, Dominguez there, nearly. I'm going to say he's pushing 7,000. That's getting pretty up there. You know what? Why don't we? I know he's on his second quali lap. Why don't we follow him around for a lap and see how he's doing around here?
Who is that, Hendrickson or Dominguez? What do you
No,
reckon?
no, no, not him, Hendrickson. Dominguez. Let's go do Dominguez.
All right, let's hop on board here with Dominguez as he comes into the one of the three tight sweeping. Well, they are long at the same time. Hairpins here as he's coming towards the tail end of that lap. Let's see if I can get the roll bar. That might be the best picture. No, the cockpit. As he comes around this third gear final sweeping right-hander, he can use all of the track on exit as he does so. See, all the way over on that green patch there. I'm just going to see if has he finished his laps? Yeah, he has. Well, great time to pick him up, Alex. I know we spoke about this before, AJ, but I didn't do so well with that one. I was hoping to give people a look at the track. We might hop on board with Enzo, who's now going through turn 5 and 6, respectively, up to this kink at turn 7, staying in second gear and very tight, actually. Oh no, he's bailed on the lap. Interesting, Mr. Cantor having a bit of fun out there tonight, representing the sole representative of Team Ivano, of course, tonight with no Fahim Antoniadis once again, AJ.
Yeah, well, isn't that great for Enzo? It'll enable him to put a few more championship points in the bag. But he's going to have competition from Hendrickson and Dominguez, no doubt. Just watching Dominguez's lap, he was happy to get it out sideways, and I think that's always a good sign of a good skippy driver. If you're comfortable to get the car a little bit sideways, you've obviously got that control down pat, and not necessarily the fastest way around if you're going sideways everywhere, but a little bit here and there, it can help you.
Speaking of sideways, Hendrickson layering it up through the final couple of corners there. Conde now, Gustavo Conde coming across to finish what looks to be his second lap. He's presently just sitting in P9. Didn't look to really go anywhere with that one. Enzo's still out there, of course. Cantor. Henderson, the local charge here, leading the charge for ANZ, if I'm not mistaken. No, Ben Snell, last week's winner, currently in P4, just 2/10 off the pace. Leading qualifying time here tonight. If I can just that one away, chuck that one up there. Leading qualifying time here tonight, 101.5. That is outstanding. Track temp here of around 25, 26 degrees is really dropping the times, AJ. 101.5 around here is pretty tidy, even in these cooler conditions.
Yeah, it's quite close at the top as well, and I was wondering how you found it. It is a quite a straight track. There's only a couple of big braking zones. Was it drafty for you? Could you get a draft pass done, or was the straights not long enough?
Nah, look, you don't even get fifth gear. Fifth gear gets a bit lonely there and unloved. You're in fourth as a maximum down the longest straight in the approach to the final corner. And similarly, on the exit of turn 12 on the approach to turn 1, you only get up to fourth gear. Even though the final corner, turn 12, is all flat once you get going, and you can run extremely wide, as we saw this section of the track here. Canter approaching the final corner at turn 12, probably getting a bit of practice more than anything else. You want to come in for... Oh, he's really letting it hang wide there. Missed the apex. Oh, it looks like everyone's finished their quality lap, so iRacing's going to advance the session. Why don't we just grab the grid while we can for round 6 of Monday Night Lights, season 15, Tsukuba circuit, the 2000 version. Car number one, and on pole is Javier Munoz Dominguez from Iberia with a 101.5. Great time there from Dominguez. P2 went to Hendrickson, also car plate number 2 with a 101.6. Handy time in of itself, and not far behind was Sami Toikala from Finland in P3 with a 101.6 similarly. First in the 101.7s was the leading local contender in last week's winner, Ben Snell, representing Team Milo. Enzo Cantor for Team Mivano, representing Italy as well in P5. P6, you got Kevin Henderson from the ANZ club looking to continue his charge this season. P7 went to Sean Carron, another local boy. Great to see Sean up there. Car 14, I was surprised he made it into this split, actually, having seen him during the week. Saw some great pace, but I thought he might struggle with iRating tonight. Well done, Sean, for making it. P8, Samuel Collins, also from ANZ, just sneaking under the 102 mark. Just beyond that was Francisco Javier Cano Rodriguez from Iberia in P9. P10 went to Gustavo Conde that we saw earlier. 11th, the Golden Stig himself, part-time commentator, part-time race driver, Tim Awema. P12, Russell Clark from Team Milo with a 102.3. 13th went to the Cowboy himself, Sam Devantier from ANZ. P14, Dennis Fiedler representing Team Ovaltine, ANZ. P15, Simon Skeen, also from ANZ. Glenn Borkulis, Glenn from ANZ in P16, rounding out your field tonight. AJ, interesting, with just the 10 seconds remaining, the guys taking the grid. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be a tight snake of cars. Moves very hard to make here. Another one of what I call the pressure to pass tracks rather than the draft to pass, as the starter's taken his position. Red lights rev. Green mean go, and they are away for one of 20 here, as we see straight away Dominguez coming over to the driver's right to cut off Hendrickson, but he has not got it done. It is possible to hold your line around the outside and get the inside running into the following series of corners, culminating in turn 5, 6 hairpin, and that's exactly what Dominguez did. He got a great drive out of that first hairpin there into the second, first gear corner there. They're going 2 by 2 behind and looking to get it done. I tell you what, I've seen some interesting moves into that second hairpin this week, to say the least, AJ, but the quality of field here tonight with a 3,440 strength of field, second highest field of the week here once again, and the guys showing what they're made of already, AJ.
Yeah, nice clean start there from everybody. Looks like everybody's gotten through their single file now, so we'll see whether that or not they set in for 20 laps to follow the lead, or whether they're going to give us a bit of action. But just remembering back from last week, we were on Australian servers, and again we are on Australian servers this week, so something for the internationals to watch out for. Those pings up in the 300 to 400 range.
Yeah, most certainly, as we're riding on board with Cantor there. He's now in P4. He's up one position from his qualifying position of 5th at the expense of young Mr. Snell, who has tucked in behind this long snake of cars in the leading pack. With Henderson just behind there, he's only 5 tenths behind, but still, these guys can get it together. That's enough to build a gap and maybe get away, AJ.
Yeah, Henderson really deep into, what is it, turn 5 and 6 areas, so not quite with it under the brakes there, but I was impressed to see Cantor on that first lap, first couple of turns. He was able to make it work around the outside of Ben Snell, and that could prove quite a catch for Cantor, because as you say, passing is at a premium here, so to get it done on the first lap is very handy for
Yeah,
Canada.
speaking of passes, Conde going up the inside of Collins there into the final corner. That's another passing opportunity. If you get a good run out of that final hairpin there, it turns 10 and 11. Genuine double apex hairpin there, given its two cornered numbers at once. You can get the run and get it done up the inside. Also possible to defend around the outside of the final turn 12 as well. So well done to Conde and Collins there, getting it done cleanly. Not costing themselves too much, but Sean Caron just sitting in front there and on the tailpipe of Henderson there in P6 and 7 respectively. Caron going up the inside. Shut the door, did he? No, Henderson left a nice amount of racing room there, but once again, around the outside, you can actually get better drive out of these corners, and Caron forced to pull in behind Henderson. Will he get it done or have a look into the final corner? No, he will not. Car plate number 14 tucks in behind and remains in P7, AJ.
Yeah, Henderson looking a little bit loose there, so it looks like he's possibly going to cost the guys behind the draft to that front pack. And yeah, I'm looking, I think I've got about a 1.5 second gap. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah, 1.5 seconds off to Snell, who's on the tail end of the top 5 now, with Cantor just in front of him. But up front, we've got Dominguez trailed hard by Hendrickson now. The 1 and 2 plate cars really looking to get it done. They've got a 0.4 of a second gap on Toy Carla, who's sitting in P3 at the moment, trying to hang on. Takes a nice shortcut to the apex here. Interesting thing about these corners, there's a lot of these hairpins rather, there's a lot of camber, deceptive amount, which means that you can take a little bit of a cheat, a shortcut into the apex there, not your traditional racing line, and still maintain good speed. As we see Hendrickson take the title line through turn 12 now as they approach the tail end of lap 4. And what that does is it allows you to keep in touch. As again, you see the guys using the full extent of the circuit. All those except Cantor and Snell there, perhaps lacking a bit of seat time. You look at Hendrickson right up the tail of Dominguez there in P1 and 2 respectively. I'm wondering how patient Hendrickson's going to be in the team blue and orange racing mobile. I wonder how long he's going to be content to sit there before he makes his move, AJ.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Dominguez is going to get plenty to think about. Of course, with the shape of the corners, as you said, you can take a little bit of a cheater line into them, turn in a little bit earlier, and that's certainly going to give the guys something to think about if they have a bit of a think of moving up the inside. I've seen it happen in some of the streamed races where the guy might move to the apex a little bit earlier than what the person following would anticipate. Hendrick's going to have a look here. He might hold on and see if he can get close enough to turn 1. And is that Cantor going very wide there, just behind them?
Yeah, just watching on board with Hendrickson at the moment as he looks to make that move done. Brilliant car control in front from Dominguez. He was the rear of that car really stepping out there. Beautiful car control, mix of throttle and brake there to keep that car in check. And it's actually something that you can think about doing there through that final corner, because you really need to match speed with rotation there. You don't want to rely on brakes for rotation there. You just want to let the car flow, because you really need to get the momentum up through that corner to maximise your approach into turn 1. And really, it's coming through this final corner here where you've got to set up your final hairpin here at turns 10, 11, where you set up for the longest straight. As with every track, the corner before the longest straight is the most important, and it really does set up what minimal passing opportunities there are at this very technical track, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Dominguez there again. As I said, he's happy to get the car a little bit sideways, and he's looking quite quick about it. Hendrickson's very close this time. He has a little bit of a look at the inside, but no, content to just sit behind. So I'd say this is a very level-headed performance from Hendrickson. Of course, we're already on lap 7, so a third of the way through the race. But of course, that means there's 2/3 of the race still to go. Hendrickson just playing the patient game.
Yeah, look, he's taking the wide entry there, which is not the fastest line through there necessarily. You want to get nice and tight to that apex, but Hendrickson certainly knows what he's doing here. He's putting pressure all over the back, and like I said, in my books, this is a pressure to pass track rather than a draft to pass. Nowhere near 5th gear in these cars around this track, and therefore the draft really not coming into play so strongly as you would see in other tracks for this car, but Toy Carla, they're right up the tailpipe of Hendrickson there. Hendrickson getting a good run out, but again, not close enough to pressure through this final corner as we see Dominguez once again leading them around, letting the car do this nice smooth run through that final turn 12, with Hendrickson all the while just sitting the 2/10 behind and really putting pressure all over us, both of them. One of the few times you'll see these cars brake diagonally towards the apexes in some of these tight hairpins here. It's an interesting track for that reason. Also, I don't know if people checked out the latest episode of the podcast with Fahim Antoniadis. He was talking about ways to improve your driving, particularly in these cars, but generally overall. And one of the tips he gave was not so much how you apply the brake, but also how you come off the brake. And can I tell you, in my experience here at this very technical track, as I said, these sweeping corners like they're going through right now in turn 10 and 11, really great opportunity to practice how you modulate the brake in terms of rotation, maintaining momentum, and really maximising your speed and momentum through these corners, AJ.
Yeah, as you say, smooth as fast, and I'm really admiring the driving of Dominguez out front at the moment. Pretty much every lap I've seen, I don't know if he's doing this on purpose or whether it's a little bit of lag, but it just looks like he's just dropping the back wheel into the dirt, and in some of the corners give him quite good rotation, but you know, he's really showing that he deserves that 6,700 or odd I rating, and putting it to Hendrickson. But I'm liking the lines that Hendrickson's taking as well. It looks like he's trying to set up for that later apex in some of the hairpin corners, maybe trying to get a little bit of a run on Dominguez. So, I wouldn't say Hendrickson is happily sitting back there. I think he is doing everything he can just to try and get that little bit closer to Dominguez, so he's going to be able to make that pass when the opportunity presents one of these laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Just jumping back a bit further in the field, we've now got Conde sitting right on the back of Karen, who in turn is chasing down Henderson in front of him, who's just got a bit of a gap there at 0.8 of a second there in front of Karen. These guys renewing their battle, and Conde, who's coming through the field a little bit, he's made up 2 spots. Very difficult to do around here, as we've seen. So making up for probably a qualification that he was disappointed with. Meanwhile, there is a bit of a racy pack further back with Collins, Clark and Awema, the Golden Stig, sticking it into the first couple of corners there, right in behind Clark and Collins there, fighting it out for the top 10 positions. As you see, Collins taking the very wide entry. Again, not maximising that camber on entry and perhaps shortcutting the corner, as you can do here, coming through one of the few one of the few corners that isn't a hairpin on this track there at turn 7. Really challenging little corner too. Choice to make there. Sorry.
There's a good battle pack going on just behind too. We've got Fiedler, Rodriguez, and Skeen all just sorted themselves out now, but they're getting into it. A lot of side-by-side action on that lap. Well worth a look, Alex.
Yeah, well, Rodriguez now taking the defensive line into the final corner, trying to hold off Fiedler, as you say, with Skeen. All the menacing in as well. Now, he's gone up the inside of Fiedler here. He'll look to get it done into turn 1 if he can. Although, Fiedler carrying too much speed there, perhaps washing it off as he tried to stay on the track and avoid death on the outside. And they're now got their eyes firmly set on Sam Devantier there, the cowboy himself. He's who we lost in the background there.
Yeah, Fiedler into the back of Skeen.
All right, let's go grab the replay on that. See if we can't pick up exactly what happened there. Coming into turn 5 now, Fiedler taking the wider entry, trying to open it up, carrying a lot of speed through there. And as you say, just into the back of the 16 car, and Simon Skeen just turned him. And I suggest that he's probably going to wait and redress that, is he? No, he might. Yeah, he is. He's just waiting. He's just trying to find himself a good part of the track to do so. And that's cost him, well, it's cost both of them, but probably Fiedler in doing the right thing, it's cost him the most there, AJ.
Yeah, definitely, and they've lost a place there to Bicordless as well, but it looks like it's heating up all throughout the pack. Clark got a good move done on Collins, I believe, and there's a good battle going on with Karen and Henderson as well. Karen challenged Henderson around that last turn, but Henderson was able to hang on. Very sideways though, but it looks like plenty of guys getting racy now as the laps tick down.
Yeah, well, the patience is starting to go by the wayside now as the guys really start to think about where they're going to finish in this order as the field has spread out somewhat, but does have some good packs going as we're riding on board with Tsukuba now. So he comes through this final sweeping right-hander of turn 12. Again, using all of the track. Snell now a distance fifth as Hendrickson looks to go up the inside now. Hendrickson looking to get it done on lap 13. Again, the drive will be with Dominguez on the outside of turns 1 and 2. Gets it done. Hendrickson forced to settle for P2 as we continue through lap 13. Tsukuba now poking the nose up the inside. Never going to make the pass there, but certainly putting the pressure on at this stage, AJ.
Yeah, this is good. This is what I want to see. Hendrickson, we definitely know he can race and he can put a fast one. So, you know, as you say, he's looking to take that slightly later apex he does there. Again, a little bit wider entry. Try and maximise that speed out and give him the best opportunity to get Dominguez into turn 1 again. Dominguez going defensive now though, not wanting to let Hendrickson get any of that draft, but I'm not sure if he's really going to have a choice when it comes to turn 1.
Oh, Hendrickson a bit loose on entry there. But certainly, in my experience, getting the run out of that final hairpin that turns 10 and 11 is the way to go to get the move done. Hendrickson now right up the top. Oh, Dominguez very loose there. Hendrickson hanging on to it. That's fantastic skill there by Hendrickson. There was nowhere for him to go, and he still managed to hang on to it. So many drivers would have put it in the rear of the driver in front there, having made that mistake. But Hendrickson, beautiful car control there. And once again, all 4 drivers making it through what looks to be unscathed, AJ.
Yeah, Cantor taking the opportunity there. Tsukuba getting a little bit of a touch on the back of Hendrickson, and Cantor did not waste a moment to get through. So Cantor up to P3. Can he make an impression on the lead now?
I'll tell you what, you got to take advantage of opportunities when they present. Certainly, Cantor there making the most of what was quite a racy moment there. All the guys pushing so hard right on the limit now as Hendrickson once again putting pressure all over the back of Dominguez. And I know we're not changing places every other lap, AJ, but without the draft here being a factor in the overtakes, I tell you what, the driver's skill is really what's on display here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and it has to put a question to the state of these other guys' cars. Hendrickson, he got a couple of bumps there, front and rear, so I'm wondering if he would have copped any suspension damage. I'm sure that it wouldn't really slow Hendrickson down, maybe just make him faster, but that's a question you've got to ask. Cantor was the only one that got through on that previous lap without touching somebody, so if he can catch back up, he could be in a good position.
Yeah, that's right. There's also a pretty racy battle going on between Henderson and Karen, as you said, for P6 and 7 respectively. Karen getting the job done on that last lap. Henderson now right on his tail. Conde sitting behind them, looking to be not really staying in touch, just hanging off the back there. But Clark now, he's in P9 ahead of Collins and Awema. This 3-car train continuing on the tail end of lap 16 as they cross the line.
Whoa, Hendrickson
and Dominguez. I was just coming back. What happened, AJ?
Yeah, Hendrickson a little bit too deep into turn 1 and just getting into the back of Dominguez there. It's really starting to get spicy now. There's only 4 or 5 laps to go.
Absolutely. We got no one looking to be carrying any significant damage out of all these contacts, but I tell you, it's very easy to do. You're very close quarters throughout the whole race in a race like this, based on what I got to experience or had the pleasure of experiencing during the week. So easy to make contact here because you are in such close quarters the whole time and you're chomping at the bit to get past, but so few opportunities, and they're so hard to manufacture that you want to grasp them at every opportunity. As once again our leaders run through the final corner. Now 5-car pack with a couple of little upsets, perhaps bringing Snell back into the race, although he's once again tailing off by the looks as Dominguez takes a defensive line this time. Does this open the door for Cantor up the inside of Hendrickson, as Hendrickson was forced to take all the speed that he built up and stick it around the outside, but no, they've settled once again back into racing order. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the cars, 1, 2, 3, 4 in running order, with only the number 6 of Snell breaking the order of seedings here tonight.
Yeah, Hendrickson might think twice about taking some of those wide lines into the hairpins because Cantor is right there behind him, and I have no doubt that if Hendrickson leaves the door open just a little, Cantor is going to be right up in there challenging P2. As it looks like Dominguez has just managed to eke out a small gap now, so he should be safe for this lap. But also in the background, Karen and Henderson still going at it. Henderson back through for P6 again in that battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Henderson Karen carrying on the show outside the top 5. But now we've got, it looks like Dominguez once again going very wide. This is the door well and truly open for the guys behind. He's hung on to it, but 2 have gone through. We've got Hendrickson and Cantor going through, and Toy Carla now going 2 by 2 into the second of the hairpins at turns 5 and 6. Can he get it done? No, he hops back in behind. And these three, this deck of cards here at the top 5 shuffling for the first time significantly in the race. And once again, we've got Cantor taking advantage of someone else's mistake. Toykala shooting into that apex once again for that final hairpin at turns 11 and 12, 10 and 11, I beg your pardon, as they run up this back straight into the approach to the final corner. Now, Hendrickson, what can he do? We've seen him try to attack. What can he do in defence, AJ?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if you want to take the inside line because as we saw the lap before, Hendrickson nearly was able to run around the outside of Dominguez. But, now Dominguez looking to have a go at Cantor up the inside. He's going to poke his nose. Oh, and he's
once
got wide
again. He's loose again. Oh, the rear of that
very
car.
Wide, though.
Yeah, Cantor very wide. Toykala this time going up the inside on the approach to turn 5 now. Through 4. Into 5. Oh, Toykala, he shoves it up the inside. He forces Dominguez around the outside. Can he hold on to it? Now Dominguez with the run up the inside. Through the little kink at turn 7. Toykala forced to the outside. Dominguez now on the inside into turns 10 and 11. Toykala forced to go around the long way. But as I said, you can get stronger drive out there. 2 by 2 they go again. That outside line paying dividends. Will Toykala defend here? What will Snell do now that he's in amongst it? You've got Dominguez looking up the inside, faking up the inside, but no. He's stuck in behind now. Will he attack in turn 1? What will Snell do? Will he put the cat amongst the pigeons here now that he's finally got someone to race with? Straight away, Toykala taking the defensive line. Again, making a beeline for the apex. I tell you what, it took us a while to get to the final lap. Took us a while to get to some action, but it's action aplenty now, AJ.
Yeah, Hendrickson licking his lips. He's got this one all but sewn up. Cantor an easy P2, and Dominguez going to be kicking himself, just not able to control the rear end. But all the Aussies, I'm sure, are going Snell. They want to see Ben Snell up into a podium position. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. I think it's going to be Dominguez having a go at Toykala here. He's just not close enough. So it looks like that's going to be the podium rounded out. If they all get a decent drive. Toykala very slow off the turn there.
Yep.
Takes a defensive line.
Straight over to the right-hand side of the track, take defensive line. Dominguez, I think, on the contrary, got the great drive out, and that's what gave it to him. Oh, Dominguez, the rear of the car going again. Oh, I think he's gone.
They'll through for P4.
They'll through for P4 as we cross to Hendrickson, who's taken the win. We've got, look at Rodrigo Dominguez in the background, just letting people know what his thoughts were. Oh, did he cross the line? Yeah, he did in P5. Wow. I tell you what, it took a while to get going, but once it did, the chat's right. The inner Darrell Eastlake came out. It was a bit of fun to get excited in the closing stages of that race as the field tapers off towards the end. And poor old Dennis Fiedler only managing to get one spot back after that incident. Tip my hat to Fiedler, who showed his class there in redressing that incident, as costly as it might have been for him, AJ. So why don't we just run through our results, seeing as I remembered this week, for round 6 at Tsukuba Circuit in Japan. P1, after battling long and hard for it all night long, that's what she said, for Tim Hendrickson, who started in second, managed to get past the hard racing Dominguez, who had some trouble with the rear end of his car tonight through some of these corners, which is not unusual, but certainly costly for him. P2 tonight went to Enzo Cantor, who again was fighting throughout for position and climbed 3 spots, which is incredibly hard to do in this sort of field. Congratulations to Enzo. P3, Sammy Toy Carla in that front pack all night, making some interesting and technical lines into and taking advantage of some of those shortcuts to the apexes that we were talking about, just showing how it's done in P3. P4, Ben Snell on the top step of the podium last week, a hard fought P4 this week. Great job from the leading ANZ driver. P5 went to our leader for 90% of the race, Javier Munoz Dominguez from Iberia. Unlucky for him. Wondering if some of those touches caused any damage to the rear of his car, because towards the end of the race, certainly looked less stable than the start. Kevin Henderson, second of the ANZ drivers in P6 after a hard fought battle with Sean Karen, also from ANZ. Gustavo Conde, he tapered off a bit there at the end after getting a couple of spots at the start from Iberia in P8. P9 went to the second of the Team Milo drivers in Russell Clark. P10 went to Samuel Collins, who was in that three-way battle with Russell Clark and just find it, Mr. Tim Awema, the Golden Stick, finishing in P11 tonight. And the leading, if I'm not mistaken, Team Benham racer. The Cowboy himself in P12, grabbing what I think are his first Monday Night Lights championship points and possibly his first appearance in the top split, Mr. Sam Devantier from ANZ. P13, and I need either a smaller font or a bigger box to put it in. Francisco Javier Cano Rodriguez from Iberia, down 4 spots in P13. P14 went to Simon Skeen, who got caught up in that incident with Dennis Fiedler in P15. And then rounding out our field of 16 tonight was the very difficult to pronounce Glenn Bakulis. Bakulis, maybe it's not as hard as I thought, AJ, but that rounds out our field in what turned out to be, I have to say, a technical and not your typical Skippy race. Quite technical, no drafting, but it certainly warmed up at the end there.
Yeah, what looks like quite a simple track, proven to be not so. Turn 12 really sorting them out, and plenty of action around turn 1, turn 2. So I was very pleased with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very enjoyable race to watch, and but I tell you, it's a nice, enjoyable track at the same time. So looking forward to seeing what the guys can do in the coming seasons. Of course, we have this track for a couple of seasons now, and looking to see what the guys can do as they learn the finer details of it, and it should be a good night out in the coming seasons. Now, have a few guys in the broadcast booth. We might bring them up finishing order as we have 10. I've got my finger on the volume button, so I think the volume will vary. There we go. Mr. Hendrickson, who is currently muted. See if I can self because otherwise, hear it. Yes, there we go.
Hello.
Hi, Tim. How you going, mate? Well, wasn't that a race? That was very technical by the looks, very challenging in terms of getting a pass done, mate. Tell us about your race.
Oh man, I was pooping my pants all race. I mean, I know Javier is fast, but he just kept sliding all over the place, especially with because we were on an Aussie server. I was just super scared with Nedgold because he kept sliding. I had to check up, but yeah, God, that was quite tense.
Yeah, mate, it looked like it. I thought he was pretty stable and solid throughout the first parts of the race, but towards the tail end is where, the tail end started going on him, and it opened up the door, opened up the door for some opportunities for yourself and Enzo, who
Yeah.
capitalised well on a couple of drivers' mistakes tonight. And I've got to say, mate, what do you make of the new track? It strikes me as quite technical and really tests your foot on the brake pedal rather than the accelerator at times.
I'm really happy with the addition of Tsukuba. It's really proven this week that it's a really good track for the free schedule. Apparently, as we really needed a good track, because I think a lot of people are getting tired of Lime Rock every season. But yeah, it's good. It's technical. The margins between people are quite close because it's only like really 6 corners. but that keeps people on their toes. So yeah, I really like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
excellent.
I wanted to ask you, Tim. I was watching you throughout the race. It looked like you were trying to take the wider line into some of those corners, maybe set up a good run. Was that the case?
Well, my default strategy when I'm driving this KP, especially when you get to hairpins, is that because the car has no aero, the best thing to do is just dive, straighten the car up, dive to the apex, and then do your turning. That's what I've always done, and well, it really works at this track because it's got quite a few hairpins.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. I mean, the talk or what I witnessed during the week was that holding it tight through the majority of those corners because there's some sort of, sneaky camber there that gets you through.
Yeah.
But certainly it looks like you guys were able to take a variety of lines. Some, as you say, starting wide and then cutting into the apex. Others really shortcutting that run to the apex to try and bridge the gap because the camber saves them and allows them to keep some speed up. Yeah.
Especially at the last corner, there are 20 million lines you can take, which is interesting to race with. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Well, congratulations on the win and welcome back in style. But thanks for joining us here
Thank you
again,
very
mate.
much.
Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Oh, as per usual, I really want to thank you guys for putting on a brilliant broadcast, as always.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get the pleasure of your company in the coming weeks.
I really hope so. Can't
Thanks.
promise anything.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, mate. Catch you next time.
See you later.
There you go, AJ. Our race winner tonight, Mr. Hendrickson, for Team Orange and Blue, or Blue and Orange. I always get them mixed up. He's done pretty well there, actually, and it sounds like it is a bit of a driver's circuit here that we've got here in the new iRacing content, and certainly a bit of fun by the sounds of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'd love to see Hendrickson back out in some of the other rounds. So I put the challenge to Hendrickson to get out on the Monday Night Lights and give us the action. That was a brilliant race. So I hope we see more of him.
Yeah, absolutely. He did fantastically well there. Now, next in our finishing order was Mr. Enzo Cantor, who is also muted, which is my fault. I think I've got the service settings wrong. I did some stuff during the week. Enzo, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth, mate. Fantastic drive tonight. You took some. Hang on, you've muted yourself now, mate. It's not my fault anymore. You got to unmute yourself, I think. Oh no. Nah, I've unmuted him. It's all gone wrong. AJ made so many changes tonight to what people see on screen. It's what people can hear in the end, which has brought us unstuck. Enzo, can you unmute yourself? The people are waiting. No. All right. Enzo, if you could go check out yourself in the other channel, mate, see if you can get yourself unmuted, and I'll see if I can bring you back up short.
He may well have been deep into the answer to a question already, Alex.
He may well have been. I'm worried if that's the case, but because we love our Enzo interviews at the end of a race, so we'll hopefully see what happens there. I think I've done something terrible with this channel, but let's see what we can do as we bring up our fourth place getter tonight. Everyone, our fourth place getter tonight, Mr. Ben Snell, who is also muted. Oh boy, I've really struggled tonight. Ben, can you have a crack? There we go. I can see the little icon there. I've done something terribly wrong. Ben, can you tell us, mate? It all sort of came to you at the end there. It looked like you dropped off there from that lead pack, but ended up with a few opportunities at the end and made the most of them.
Yeah, you've got the broadcast booth on push to talk, and Enzo doesn't have a keybound for that, so that's why he can't unmute himself.
Let me just I'll fix that, mate. But meanwhile, while I'm doing that, tell me about. Oh, hang on. I've got it now. Tell me, mate. Tell me about how the race unfolded for you.
I basically just spent the first 18 laps going, please don't drop me, please don't drop me. I'm trying to keep up as much as I can. And then, fortunately for me, they fought enough right at the end where I could just pip Javier when he ran wide through the last turn.
Yeah, that's it, mate. He looked to be struggling there and just dropping not quite like a stone, but the rear of the car really not his friend this evening, young Mr. Dominguez. But certainly yourself, I saw your just skills during the week in that video you posted, mate, which was quite impressive. But it certainly looked like it wasn't going to challenge you out there tonight.
No, it is a very skatey track tonight. But yeah, that outside line, I went too wide in an early race this week, and I knew that outside line is very challenging. So when Javier ran wide, it was like, oh, I just ducked down the inside and thankfully picked up a spot.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It was like I said. It echoes your comments, mate. Trying not to get dropped, but then, like Mr. Cantor, who we'll bring back up in a second, he took an opportunity when it presented, and yourself did the same, mate. Leading the ANZ charge tonight, and the Team Milo charge. Congratulations on another great result. Almost cracked it for another podium, mate, and augurs well for the rest of the season. So thanks for joining us here again tonight, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
As always, you guys for putting on the broadcast, and of course, go Team Milo.
Go to Milo indeed. All right, mate. Well, we hope to catch you again next week.
Cheers. See ya.
There you go, AJ. I think I fixed the problem now. Push to talk, all that sort of stuff, but I've sorted it. So hopefully Mr. Cantor will be okay now. Now, there we go. Enzo, can we hear you now, mate? Oh, jeepers. Yes, are you there, Enzo?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there it is. Beautiful. Mate, P2 here tonight. Perhaps, I'm not even going to say fortuitous, mate. You were in there the whole race. You took opportunities when they presented masterfully and came away with a great result. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, thank you. The problem is that this is a snow track, you know. After 4 or 5 or 6 laps, you can feel the car as it is over the ice or the snow, very very slippery. So I don't have found yet my confidence here. So I was happy after the qualifying because I was in fifth. But here is always almost impossible to pass if some drivers in front of you doesn't make some mistakes. So this was a strange race for me because I was not aggressive. I was only trying to keep my pace and wait for some mistakes by other drivers. That is strange by me, no? Because I'm I'm always aggressive, but today I had not the confidence at all to do this. And the problem is that I had Ben Snell in front of me. And I tried to pass him in the first lap as soon as possible because is very dangerous in the sense that he is very fast. So I knew that if I wouldn't be able to pass him soon, perhaps I wouldn't be able to pass him never in the race. So I passed him soon, fortunately, and I tried to push very hard in order to don't lose my draft and to push Ben out of my draft. But it was very difficult, and when I was trying to push a very little bit harder, I went overdrive and I almost lose my draft. And Ben was always there. So very congratulations to him because he's improved so much in the last months and he's very fast now. And finally, I was almost believing that I could win the race. I had a very poor chance to pass. I think I was lucky to have that chances. I passed every time I could do that. And finally, I'm very happy for the second place because team I knew it is a very fast here. Probably is one of the fastest guys here in this circuit. So for me, the second place is the best I could wish before the race.
Yeah, mate. Look, I echo your sentiments about taking the opportunities when they presented. I think you did a fantastic job of that, and the front five guys really displayed a lot of skill here tonight, and put on a great show. Very technical at the start. Really, people having to watch the nuances of the race. You know, what opportunities there, what's really not there, and it was really enjoyable for a driver to watch some guys put on a really high level of skill out there tonight. So congratulations on your race. Congratulations on the result. Really fantastic drive, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, sure. Thank you as always. I have to say thanks to my team, Transmaster Mivano, my team manager Fabio Mantellini, all my teammates, you for the broadcast, all the drivers here. Every time is so much fun to race and to have a broadcast.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Enzo, mate. We look forward to seeing you for the remainder of the season. And if we get races like that, mate, even better.
Yeah.
All right, mate. We'll catch you next week. Well, I think we lost him there. Tell you what, if I was going to have technical difficulties, AJ, it was going to be tonight. But hopefully we've got him sorted now. As I bring up what will be our final interview of the night, Mr. Corey Steinhauser, who, yeah, there we go. He should be able to speak now. Corey, mate, if chat's to be believed, I think you might have had a race win down there in one of the splits here tonight. Can you confirm or deny these rumours?
I have to deny, unfortunately.
Oh, what put on,
It
mate?
wasn't a win. I did get a podium, though, P3, but we had a first-time iRacing winner
Right.
in the third split tonight.
And who was that, mate? Who was the
The winner down in third split tonight was Matthew from Holtz. He won what was a very chaotic kind of a race, and I found out after giving him much adulation in my stream that he's also a streamer.
Oh, would that be the ex-circus performer himself, the Goblin?
Yes, it would indeed. The Goblin Cave won the bottom split race tonight. So big congratulations to him. We had a very chaotic race with on about lap 3, first and second place took each other out on the pit straight. About 7 or 8 laps after that, third and fourth decided to bin it in the final hairpin before the run down to that long sweeping right-hander. And then with just a couple laps to go, the guy that was in second got tangled up with a lap car, gifting me third place.
Oh, well, mate, that's a great result for you. Great Monday Night Lights points. And I'm sure the Goblin himself will be pretty happy. I was in his channel before getting ready for the race and trying to talk him into getting a run. So I know he had a rough day in terms of his racing. So hopefully that put a smile on his dial, as did your podium, mate. Congratulations on that. Great points in that for you. And you're also a streamer, of course. Tell people where they can find you.
If people want to check me out, either during the Monday Night Lights races or just throughout the week at any time, you can find me at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. I will put up a explicit lyric content warning right now because I do say some things that will make people think I have Tourette's. And also, thanks to all my moderators. You guys work really hard. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who views me. We reached a new follower goal over the weekend during the Daytona 24 hour. So I'm really happy about that. Thank everyone so much.
Yeah, awesome, Corey. Well, mate, keep turning out and turning up, and it'll only get better from there. So congratulations on the result tonight, mate, and we look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
All right, no worries, mate. Thank you very much.
There you go, AJ. That's tonight's racing in the books. And what a race it was. I tell you what, it's not, as I said, it's not your typical Skippy race where you see, draft passes and strategic elements of the race built up around that. It was hard technical work out there for the guys who wanted to succeed, had to play a lot of patient games. And I was really, really pleased to see the likes of the strategy involved in Enzo Canda's race, where patience and pressure to pass paid out, because I think when you see a race like that, and there's a couple of others who did that, Hendrickson was another, Snell also, and Toy Carla in particular, really trying to manufacture these passing opportunities. And when you see guys working as hard under the helmet as they are on the wheels and the input in the pedals, I really enjoy that style of race, mate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. And yeah, I have to say, I was surprised. The track looks fairly simple in its design, but really it did put on some great racing. It's one of the more memorable races, I have to say, of recent times. But it's not going to get any easier because next week it is Sonoma. So plenty of challenging corners there as well. Going to see that racecraft put on display. Of course, low participation tracks. Put the challenge out to everybody to get out there on a Monday night and put their iRating on the line, have a go, and put on some great action for us to call.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Don't expect a massive turnout unless the community gets behind us, because, of course, we are for the community, by the community, and that's what it's all about. That about wraps us up for this week, though. AJ, where can the folks catch you and what are you up to this week?
Yeah, as always, AJ_77 on Twitch. We'll be back in the F3s, no doubt, again this week. And I think we're heading to Interlagos. So should be interesting and a bit more room for 40 odd cars on track around there.
Yeah, 40 cars last week at Okayama was challenging, to say the least. But yeah, I too will be streaming that race on Twitch at the Top Split TV Twitch channel. Looking forward to that one a lot. And then, of course, where I can during the week, got in a sneaky stream last night, a couple of races around here, enjoyed that. And then, of course, whatever I can get on a Friday and a Saturday night as well. So check that out. But of course, we are back here on YouTube next week for the next round of Monday Night Lights. Same bat time, same bat channel, but also head over to topsplit.com where you'll find the latest episode of the podcast with someone who is not here tonight, but becoming very much an integral part of the Monday Night Lights, Mr. Fahim Antoniadis, who I've got to say, his words of wisdom around the technical elements of improving your driving were ringing loud in my ears tonight and in my racing during the week, and they really helped me get some great results as well. So worth tuning into that and worth checking out his words of wisdom. But for now, folks, I have been your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me is the good doctor, Alex John. Thank you all for joining us here. It's great to have the pleasure of your company here on a Monday night and the reason why we do it. But until next time, on behalf of AJ, I will wish you good night and say ciao for